What up, fam? I'm tired of shit. It's gonna be one scuffs short stream. I almost didn't even say those words correctly. So is this what they call a speedrun? No. I haven't really speedran all that much in years. Like the height of my career in speedrunning was 2017 to 2019. In 2020, I was still competitive, but in 2021, I became focused with doing no damage in GTA 5, like the full game, like beating it all without taking any damage and without being hit as well, and not using Trevor's invulnerability power. That took a year and a half. It was wild. Although I did take a 4-month break at the end there. And then after that, I would occasionally come back and do the occasional speedrun. I did speedruns of some of the heists in online, like Care Perico. But other than that, I mainly do challenge runs these days. One of the ones that got me popular in the beginning was doing GTA 5 without killing anyone. And the second season of that's coming out right now. The current number is 95 kills to beat the game. And that number's going to be lowered by the second season. While challenge runs contain a timer, a lot of them are a lot more lenient in the sense that, like, some of them are really difficult, like Pacifist and No Damage are ridiculously difficult. Like, Pacifist was like over 1,000 hours of footage. And I'd say No Damage took a year and a half. But a lot of them is just like one run, like melee only. I did it over multiple parts, and that can be done in one session. But speedruns, to be competitive, it requires you to practice a lot. If you want to be the best, you have to be speedrunning every day, practicing every strat, on the ball with every small optimization that comes out. You have to know every crease in this game so you can perfectly get the right brake boosts and the right curb boosts and stuff to get all the speed. And it's almost impossible to do all of that and to be a content creator. Like, I got a dozen or two people who work with me making content. I edit myself every day. I live stream. Like, just the more and more I became a content creator, the more and more I became less competitive. And it's hard to make the same speedrun interesting over and over again. While with challenge runs, it's always something new, something different. The only way I can pass a mission is when I die 16,000 times and I see there's a pattern. Yeah. Once you've beaten the game a few hundred times, it becomes a bit easier. My most consistent series are Chaos, where it's a mod. There's a public version, but I have a custom version right now with 800 effects, where you can either have chat vote or it can just be random, entirely random, where an effect out of 800 gets applied every 30 seconds to the game and you try to progress. I've got like 150 episodes of that because it's so random and different every time that it doesn't take much editing to make that a watchable experience as a video. And then there's this series, which I did on a whim, where I decided to collect all the awards in GTA Online. And there was a bit of a novelty when I started because I didn't play much online back when I first started. So, DarkViperAU is playing online rather than single player. That's crazy. But now we're on episode 54, so it's less of a novelty now, but the episodes are still fairly funny, and I got some good people editing it, so obviously waiting for GTA 6 like everyone else. I still edit? Yeah. As I edited the 6-Star podcast yesterday. Did the preliminary edit for Pacifist. No, I did 6-Star 2 days ago, but I did the preliminary edit for Pacifist yesterday. I'll be doing the minor editing that is required for Chaos today. What are my thoughts on flying bikes and cars? Because I have played GTA Online in a very different way to most people, in that for most of the time in online, I've not been able to play public lobbies because of security reasons, because of mod menus and stuff, and potentially losing my IP address and getting DDoS. The security is better now, but there's still a little bit of risk to that. And but because of that, the downsides of the oppressor and the flying vehicles that cause people to be griefed and remove the more social aspects of people seeing each other in the game and on the ground and stuff. I never had that stuff anyway. So I didn't get to experience as much the negative effect that it had on GTA Online. So I don't mind them for how I play the game. In fact, they've saved me a lot of time in how I'm collecting all the awards. But I don't think they were good for the game. And I held that opinion even before talking to other people who do more traditional GTA Online content. Because we actually talked about this very question in the most recent 6-Star podcast episode. He said it seemed Rockstar realized they had screwed up as well. Like, after the oppressor, there was no more flying bikes, flying vehicles. It was all boots on the ground, at best jets and helicopters. See, I don't think they're going to go that route in GTA 6. Unless it's like in a very limited capacity as like a meme, a reference, like maybe in a particular mission, they'll give you the one flying bike in the game that like you destroy in the mission or something, as a joke. So why not just take them out? If it isn't universally hated, and given that people would have already spent time and money on them, given that certain content would be tied to those vehicles. Like, for example, the Deluxo is attached to some missions in the Doomsday Heist, I think. Multiple missions, right? When you start removing stuff from a game, it can very quickly snowball and break everything. Once you've got stuff working, you don't really want to start poking at it because you might break the game more and you'll probably piss people off. Because as I say, as much as a lot of content creators don't like it, I have no idea what the average person believes about the Oppressor or the average person believes about the Deluxo or whatever. And even if I sampled my audience wouldn't even be representative sample because they'd be more engaged than even the general audience that plays the game, right? And of course, Rockstar would have to admitted they were wrong, which is probably also something they didn't want to do. These guys don't like buildings. I understand. 90% of bad things that happen in the world happen in buildings. If we just removed all buildings, less bad things would happen. It's true. I stole that building joke from DarkViperAU. Yeah, a lot of people steal things from that guy. There is legit multiple channels dedicated to reproducing stuff from my Facts and Glitches series and then titling it, "This would have been good to know 10 years ago," or "Rockstar didn't think we'd find this." And they just spam 4 different titles over and over and over again on each of the fact and or glitches. Most of them get 2K views, but suddenly one will just hit 1 million. And there's multiple channels doing this. My series is far more accessible and it has a wider range of glitches and facts than most other people because I know stuff from the speedrunners, right? And as well, I've got a team of people going through the code and stuff. I suppose that stuff is a lot harder to replicate though. Strike everyone? Nah, it's not my footage. I can't do that. It's just the way the world works. If you show that something works, then other people are going to do that thing too. People have always done challenge runs of GTA 5. But I think my dedication to it and releasing so many has shown that even this late in the life cycle of GTA 5, that you can still do challenge runs and they'd be successful. I've seen a few more channels popping up that have done challenge runs of GTA 5 lately. It's still wild that this kind of content gets views despite the game being that old, you know? You don't see a problem with it? Honestly, my problem is the titles. I think, in general, if you're going to take something from someone else, you should put a spin on it and make it yours somehow, right? Just copying them or whatever is kind of lame. And the titling just being some vague nonsense to clickbait people into clicking. Viper and Sea-Dog collab? It's hard for me to collab with people outside of my niche because most of the collab stuff that would make sense for my channel requires you to have some proficiency at GTA 5. We follow each other on Twitter, but we follow each other for a real long time ago when I was a bit more outspoken about potentially controversial topics. And I watched the Trash Taste podcast more than I do now. I still occasionally catch an episode, but back then I was, it was like my go-to podcast when I need to clean the house and stuff. There was an episode where Joey said some weird stuff about his sister and her potentially having a supernatural ability. And so I talked on stream about my views of the supernatural, and especially because it was a topic that I used to discuss regularly a long time back in the day. And so I talked about it while playing Noiter a bit, and apparently Connor saw it, and he mentioned it in passing on the Trash Taste podcast. I think it's the only reason he follows me or whatever, and I followed him back. At this stage though, right, I've said enough crap on Twitter that I just assume that a lot of these people who are more mainstream, who don't do GTA stuff, they probably just muted me a while ago, right? You generally don't unfollow people who have a large following because you never know when you might need to, or you might want to DM them for something. Because once you follow each other, you can DM each other, right? Because a lot of people have their DMs closed. 2 large creators following each other doesn't necessarily mean they want to know about the daily goings on of the other person's life and career and stuff. It just might mean they want to, potentially in the future, they might have some reason to reach out to each other. There has been some random situations in my career where I've been like, hey, we follow each other. Do you know anything about this or whatever? Very rare. As I've said, I don't DM a lot of people. Because I don't really have much reason to, and it's I'm kind of a busy guy. I answer DMs, especially from you guys on Discord, when I'm in between doing other stuff. I'll answer DM with an emote or a single sentence. The DMs that sit the longest in Discord are those that are really long or require a long answer because I just don't have the time. I gotta wait for some significant downtime, something is rendering and I'm taking a break and I'm listening to a podcast, and at that point I can read long DMs. The only DMs I ignore are those that have absolutely no purpose. So a person will DM me, hi, or what's up. When people DM me hey, I like your content, I'll react with a heart or something. I say I like to be accessible, but I don't have that much time for it.
Do you know anything about Twitch Turbo? Like, does it help you like it premium viewers do?
It just gives ad revenue, standard rates. It's not as helpful to streamers as YouTube Premium is to YouTubers. Like, YouTube Premium is insane value for YouTubers, like insane value. If you are a YouTube Premium subscriber, you are just like 100 times more valuable as a viewer than any other viewer, right? On Twitch, it's just like, if you have a choice between Adblock and Twitch Turbo obviously is better for us, but don't stress. Do whatever is best for you. Like, I should be doing something more interesting than all awards, but I like doing it, and I wanted something to separate my my challenge runs. Like, I can't do a GTA 5 challenge run every day, right? Next, I'll hopefully play a single player game. What I really should do is finish Watch Dogs 3. Because there are only 3 Watch Dogs, right? I did sponsor stream for them. It was a week game. I did 2 sponsor streams for it. And but it wasn't that bad. Like, it was kind of that one where people were kind of mixed on it. Like, it looked like it could have had some promise if it could have been actually like quite good if some things were changed. It is the 3rd one in the series, and I haven't finished it. I was definitely too harsh to Watch Dogs 2. Like, as time goes on, older games seem better to me. I think it's just because you don't remember the flaws, right? I don't know if it's nostalgia necessarily. I did finish Black Mesa. I could play Half-Life 2, but no, it's not really in the vein of GTA-like games, you know? I'm not only playing GTA-like games for content, but I'm also doing it like to expand my understanding of the space, you know? How to make icons smaller in Windows 11. Taskbar icons. What? If use small taskbar buttons is missing, that means you're on a newer Windows 11 build where Microsoft removed the option. I cannot express to you how garbage Windows 11 is. I cannot. We need to band together and somehow get Microsoft out of business. Like, it's just unreal. SteamOS save us? Yes. Of all the people on the planet, surely Valve is sitting there being like, fucking Windows, man, it's garbage. Making games run poor and just being overall shit. I heard a story, don't know if it's true, but I heard that Microsoft did a study where they determined that regardless of how bad Windows got, people would still use it. And they'd be fine. Where'd the name DarkViperAU come from? I've told the story a million times. My name in a private server was Darkbane. My email address was GameViper3. I needed an email address, so it was just a combination of Game Viper and Dark Viper. Why was I called Game Viper? Because I liked video games, and while I was making my first email address in the 5th grade, this is like just when email became like a thing. And so at school, they're like, oh, you should make yourself an email address at Hotmail. Actually, it wasn't in school, so I was at home making this email address. So on the TV was a Disney movie, The Boy Who Wore Tennis Shoes. Don't even really remember the plot of the movie, but the villain kid, his online alias was Viper. And there's a scene where he's like, nobody messes with the Viper. Ba-na-ba-ba-ba. And I was like, oh, well, Viper sounds pretty good. Why is my name AU? When I was making an email address, a different one, I had a lot of random email addresses for some reason. Google recommended 87 to put on my name. And I was like, that'd be hard to remember. I'm gonna make it 88. And then I tried to use my new name, DarkViperAU, to make an account in GTA Online, and Rockstar wouldn't let me. And so I complained about that on Twitter, and one of my followers was like, well, it's probably the association with Nazis. And I'm like, what? So, oh yeah, it's 88, it's like Nazi thing. Oh, I didn't know that. Because I'm Australian, there's not different culture. And so I changed my name to DarkViperAU. At that point, I probably had like 8,000 followers on Twitch, so it was early enough that I could do that. Glad you're uploading to Viper Rambles again. Do you plan on continuing to upload for the foreseeable future? Love your content. Yes. Previously, I took my rambles too seriously, and there was a lot of difficulty involved, organization in terms of managing, because I would actively work to find topics to ramble about, which caused me to have to spend significant time looking at toxic shit on my social media. It would occasionally cause me to have to research stuff and develop an interest in stuff that I may otherwise not have developed an interest in just to make content. The people who were editing the footage were not the same people making the thumbnails, because I wanted the thumbnails to be good, because I was hoping the channel might be competitive one day, even though I wasn't doing a lot of the scummy stuff you need to do to be a successful commentary channel. And because of all those things, it just made it not fun, not enjoyable. It's a significant reason I stopped uploading to the channel. But also there was some liability in that I would occasionally talk about controversial things or other content creators that people could take offense to or could take out of context in the future. And so there was liability to my brand for that content. But these days I am just going to be more indifferent and careful in terms of what I speak on. As I've already said, like, I don't speak on politics and religion and philosophy and stuff in the way that I used to back in the day, but I'm becoming even more reserved and not yapping too much about the ongoings of the world or other creators and stuff. Yesterday, I went to get photos done for my engagement. Yeah, the whole save the date for the marriage kind of thing. So I showed up and my girlfriend's like, what happened to your face? Like, what? I said, yeah, you've cut yourself shaven here and like here somewhere. And like it looks not that bad now, but I'm like, oh shit. These photos are worth like a lot of money and stuff. And I'm like, oh, I forgot to cut my fingernails too. Is that a bad length of fingernails? Pretty bad, right? Like, I don't know what standards are for these things anymore. Cause like Aitana, you know, she's got like actual nails and stuff. It's borderline. Yeah, I don't think it's that bad. But some people think that you're meant to have like no white on your nails at all times kind of thing. But yeah, so that was kind of embarrassing. A professional photographer would have no issue making tiny blemishes disappear. Oh yeah, that's what I said about Photoshop. But there was another girl there who was recording us for like Instagram and stuff, like video. Video is a lot harder to edit, you know, to remove blemishes. But we went out for dinner afterwards. It was a nice place, but drinking multiple days in a row, even like I have 3 cocktails. That's like kind of my limit kind of thing, right? I went on a 6-day in a row drinks and all the day was a mad hangover. Yeah, but I'm in my 30s, chap. Like, I don't have a hangover, it's just I feel a bit sluggish, right? My brother almost drowned in a pool after drinking too much. Holy shit, must be a lot of alcohol. I remember once, I got really, really drunk. I was like, I really like water. And I jumped in a pool, forgetting my phone was in my pocket. And this was back in the day, guys. Like, you know, phones were not as waterproof as they are today. This was back when, like, we didn't have color and everything was black and white. You kids don't understand how good you have it, having everything in color these days, right? But yeah, that was the type of alcohol. Like the tequila was called Patron. What I get everywhere, chat, is spicy margaritas. I go to a restaurant, I look at the menu, and I go mango or passion fruit or some with chili. I like spicy stuff. Didn't know I was that way for most of my life. Did a couple of years ago when it was actually before I met Aitana, I found out I like spicy stuff, but being with Aitana and her liking spicy stuff. The thing about passion fruit is good passion fruit cocktails are so good, but they're really hit or miss. Like you're talking like 50% of them are good. With mango though, it's like the heights of mango don't reach the heights of passion fruit, but you know, a good 90% of mango cocktails are really good. Of the classic cocktails though, margaritas and sex on the beach, both very good. But you're more likely to get margaritas places. And every place does them slightly different, especially spicy margaritas, because some of them put like chili around the circle thing. If you're having trouble losing weight, ask your doctor. They could help you. Also, I don't eat just one packet of chips every day. That was like one day, and it was just because I was involved in drama and really pissed off. I normally have like some fruit in the morning, and then like, you know, some rice and some fish. Just like maybe half the meal that I used to have, right? Like previously, I didn't have that much trouble maintaining my weight. It's more just like slowly over time, especially when I hit 30. You know, as you get older, you become a bit more sedentary. They say your body, your metabolism slows down, but it's also partly because you're just not as active, right? And my job was sedentary, so, you know, I crept up from 83 to 85 to, then I was like a constant 88. Then when I met Aitana and I started traveling, I had never traveled before, so, and if I'm going somewhere else in the world, I don't want to like be like, oh, I better not eat this because it's a one chance to eat it. And so like I ended up getting up to like 95 kilos just because we were going places and drinking cocktails and eating more food than we should because we wanted to try all the things. And that's how I got into a situation where I was 95 kilos a couple of months ago. And like for my height, 79 is a healthy weight. I haven't been 79 in like a million years. Hi! Getting to the end of a Viper Rambles episode proves that you like me and my work far more than the average person. Given that, it's possible that you might find value in becoming a YouTube member. Members get early access to all my videos, including Rambles, as well as access to my growing library of re-uploaded deleted videos, 5% off my merch, and the ability to leave comments and feedback before public release, which is incredibly helpful for me and my team. You also get a cute badge next to your name, so I can easily identify you in my comment section and live stream chats, and you can also use all my cute emotes everywhere on the channel. Lastly, after 3 months of being a member, you can submit on my Discord to join my GTA Online crew. Thanks for the consideration, I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I hope you enjoy future ones as well.